for the last week or so, we've been seeing a lot of talk shows wanting to resume, but then holding off on resuming because of union pressure. We saw Drew Barrymore announce that she was starting her show back up, and then after about a week of pressure, she backed off. And then we saw, I think it was The Talk stop, and then Jennifer Hudson's show, they also stopped. And which side am I on of the strike? I'm on the writer's side and the actor's side, obviously. I'm on the side of the workers. One further domino has fallen, and that is Bill Maher delays start of real-time citing strike negotiations. Bill Maher has decided to stop the clock on the return of real time. The comedian, who last week vowed to put his topical HBO program back into production, now he says he will delay it for a while longer. My decision to return to work was made when it seemed nothing was happening and there was no end in sight to this strike, he said via social media. Now that both sides have agreed to go back to the negotiating table, I'm going to delay the return of real time for now and hope they can finally get this done. All of TV's late-night series have gone dark in recent months due to the strike, but Maher said he could no longer stand by as so many of his below-the-line crew were going without being paid. Okay, I gotta point out something here, because with my last segment, I covered how Drew Barrymore, as a fourth-generation Hollywood royalty, is worth like $125 million, and she could just pay out of pocket for her crew if she wanted to make sure that they were able to pay their bills during the strike. And while celebrity net worth sites, they're not exactly reliable, they can usually get like a general ballpark. And I need to point out that Bill Maher ballpark $140 million. So if he was actually concerned about his below-the-line workers, he could liquidate some stock and pay them. Just saying, man. In doing so, the iconoclastic host is following the lead of several other prominent hosts who have in recent days opted to halt production plans. Drew Barrymore had planned to start a new cycle of her CBS daytime program, and the network was ready to launch its afternoon series, The Talk. Both changed course after the plan spurred backlash. The WGA said it planned to protest outside any production of real time. Maher had planned a stripped-down show, one that would have been devoid of many of its signature elements. Under his plan, a real-time episode produced during the strike would not have featured any monologues, humor pieces, or the series' flagship segment, New Rules. And I'll say it up front to the audience, the show I will be doing without my writers will not be as good as our normal show, full stop, Maher said last week. Bill Maher has folded, but don't think that he's actually doing this because it's like, oh, I guess there's now movement and I actually care about the writers. He doesn't care about the writers. I want to show you a photo of him. This is him at a Lakers game. And this, if you don't know who this guy is, this is David Zaslav. He is the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery. He is one of the big villains in this whole fight. And here he is, courtside seats with Bill Maher at a Lakers game, right next to each other, being buddy-buddy. Bill Maher doesn't care about the writers. Bill Maher, I think, is doing this probably because, oh, well, if they're actually talking, maybe there's going to be an end to it, and maybe it'll make me look a little better if I delay it. If the talks end and they don't have a deal in place, he'll just go right back. Okay, mark my words. He's not delaying this for more than a couple of days, either way. Because if they come back and they've got a resolution this week, well, then he can go back to work anyway. And if they don't have a resolution, well, he can be like, okay, well, they're not actually getting anything done. I'm going back to work. So this is a temporary victory, but he doesn't deserve any credit for it. It's purely mercenary on his part. As for the focus of the unions in terms of shows that are starting up production, a big one that has been going on right now is Dancing with the Stars. Dancing with the Stars premiere eyes delay as celebrities begin to drop out amid WGA strike. Now, Dancing with the Stars is a WGA show. It has one staff writer, but it is a WGA staff writer position. And the WGA has been picketing outside of their rehearsals and outside of filming their shows. And they've been pressuring stars who are in it to drop out. And so here we go. The Dancing with the Stars premiere will more than likely be delayed next week as talent has begun dropping out of the show amid rising pressures during the WGA strike. Veep actor Matt Walsh, it's not the racist one, don't worry. This is the not racist Matt Walsh. He's not the one on the Daily Wire. Veep actor Matt Walsh, who's part of the season 32 cast, is taking a pause from the ABC dance competition show until an agreement is made with the WGA. Walsh is a member of WGA, SAG-AFTRA, and the DGA. ABC confirmed to Variety that the network is putting plans in place to postpone the Dancing with the Stars premiere. I am taking a pause from Dancing with the Stars until an agreement is made with the WGA, Walsh told Variety in a statement. I was excited to join the show and did so under the impression that it was not a WGA show and fell under a different agreement. This morning, when I was informed by my union, the WGA, that it is considered struck work, I walked out of my rehearsal. I have been and always will stand with my union members of the WGA, the SAG, and DGA. Beyond our union artists, I am sensitive to the many people impacted by the strike, and I hope for a speedy and fair resolution and to one day work again with all the wonderful people I met at Dancing with the Stars who tolerated my dancing. So, yes, this is the good Matt Walsh. This is the based Matt Walsh. This is, ironically, I love that of the two Matt Walshes out there, this is the not racist one. It was an episode of Community where he was a racist gardener, and they put it together afterwards that he was racist by having flashbacks to other things, and here he is, and he's pointing to his chest, he's like, it's going to be a maze. But yes, this is the non-racist Matt Walsh. Dancing with the Stars is a show covered by the WGA because it employs one WGA writer. However, it is worth noting that the show employs roughly 500 staff members in total, including crew members and producers. Performers on Dancing with the Stars, which include the celebrity cast members, hosts, judges, and pro dancers, are all cleared to work on the show under SAG-AFTRA's network code agreement, which is not part of the current strike. The network code was ratified in 2022 and does not expire until June 2024. Dancing with the Stars was set to debut with a 2.5-hour premiere on September 26 on ABC and simulcast on Disney+, and earlier this week, sources close to production told Variety that plans are moving ahead to continue the show without its one writer, despite criticism from the WGA. However, as WGA pickets hit DWTS rehearsals this week, sources say that talent has begun to feel uncomfortable participating in the show, and more are considering bowing out as they feel the rising pressure. Sources close to production say it's possible that the show can continue without Walsh, but if more celebrities begin to drop out, that will create further complications for production because the show is contingent upon its cast. True, they should be bowing out. However, a large concern is the ongoing situation is the crew on Dancing with the Stars, given that the production employs roughly 500 people. Everyone's focus is to keep 500 people employed, a production source previously told Variety. Yes, but it's a union show. There's a writer strike going on. You have a writer for the show who is currently striking. So, TV writer David Slack, a WGA member who is not involved in the current negotiations, tweeted on Thursday to shine a light on the importance of the one writer's work on Dancing with the Stars. Just one writer, but more than 50 writers picketed the rehearsal to protect that writer's job, Slack tweeted. Because if you mess with one of us, you answer to all of us. Solidarity. Spokesperson for the WGA did not respond to comment. The two hosts, 3 judges, and all of the professional dancers are all members of SAG-AFTRA. Much of the celebrity lineup for season 32 are part of SAG-AFTRA, including Walsh, Allison Hannigan, Jamie Lynn Spears, Barry Williams, Matt Walsh. Oh, come on. Is there a copy editor here? You said including Walsh, and then you said Matt Walsh down here. And unless they've got both Matt Walshes this season, you messed up. Mira Sorvino, Ariana Maddox, and Xochitl Gomez. Technically, any celebrity cast member that might back out of DWTS because of the WGA strike would be in breach of contract for refusing to work because of the no-strike clause in SAG-AFTRA's network code, but a source close to the show says that production is being supportive of any talent with concerns amid WGA picketing and intends to defend the right to work on the show, given that SAG-AFTRA has informed its members that they are allowed to continue working under the network code during its ongoing strike. Spokesperson for SAG-AFTRA did not respond to numerous requests for comment. And yes, actually I've got over here that says SAG-AFTRA backs actors appearing on ABC show. I will point out the phrasing of this article, SAG-AFTRA backs actors appearing on ABC show. It's a little bit more neutral than that. I'm not going to read this whole article, but here's the actual text of what they said. We support them in fulfilling their contractual obligations, the union noted. The majority of our members on Dancing with the Stars had contractual obligations to the show prior to the strike. Many are under option agreements that require them to return to the show if the producer exercises their option, which the producer has done. So what SAG-AFTRA is saying is, yeah, you have a contract. You have a contract and you aren't striking for this contract. So yes, if you are under a contract that you have to fulfill, then you have to fulfill it. That's not saying, hey, go do this. It's saying, if you are contractually obligated to, then yeah, I guess. But that's not the same thing as saying, oh yeah, go for it. You're totally good. You know, that's more of a understanding you're kind of in a dicey situation there. But anyway, yeah, it looks like Dancing with the Stars is the current target. And good on Matt Walsh for dropping out. And we'll see who else drops out. As for the strike negotiations themselves, the last 2 days, the WGA and the AMPTP have been in negotiations. And here we've got CEOs return to WGA talks as some movement seen toward a deal. We'll see how true that is. I don't know. 4 Hollywood CEOs returned to the bargaining table Thursday for a second day of talks with the Writers Guild of America as the industry looked for signs of progress toward a deal that would end the 143-day strike. Sources said the studios made moves in multiple areas that they hoped would be enough to break the logjam, but it remained unclear if WGA leaders would see the AMPTP's latest proposals and modifications as sufficient to meet writers' demands. The CEOs who attended the session in Sherman Oaks were once again Bob Iger of Disney, David Zaslav of Warner Bros. Discovery, Donald Langley of NBC Universal, and Ted Sarandos of Netflix. The Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers was said to have offered a success-based residual that would take the form of a bonus for streaming shows that reach certain audience thresholds. The WGA has proposed a viewership-based residual that would increase a set amount for every 2.5 million views, where a view would be counted as any time someone watched at least half the program. I actually saw somebody propose a metric for judging a view as just taking the length of a show and dividing the total watch hours of that show by the length of that particular show, and that makes it one view. Although I guess for this one, this would probably end up counting as less total views than the way that they were judging it, because if you've got like 10 people who only watch like the first 5 minutes of a 50-minute show under the proposal where they count view time over view length, that would count as one view, whereas on this proposal none of those would count as a view. So that would be more generous. So but I could imagine this being kind of like a compromise proposal for that. The WGA has also demanded a minimum staff size for every TV show, which would increase with the number of episodes in a season. The AMPTP has countered that staffing decisions should be left up to the showrunner rather than determined by a one-size-fits-all formula. The Studio Alliance was believed to be holding to that general position, though it may have made some movement on its offer. This is all speculation. The two sides also spent a portion of Wednesday's session discussing artificial intelligence. The AMPTP has previously said that the sides were close to an agreement that would allow writers to use AI without impacting their pay or credit. They don't want to use AI. Why would you have this agreement when the writers don't want to use AI? The key sticking point has been the WGA's demand that AI systems not be allowed to train on writers' scripts. The studios are able to resolve that issue with the writers. It could be helpful in addressing the same concern with SAG-AFTRA. SAG-AFTRA has even deeper concerns about the use of AI to replicate actors' likenesses, and has also raised alarms over AI training. The movement has generated considerable optimism that a deal could be at hand, with some predicting a tentative agreement could even be reached on Thursday. I could refresh. This was posted at noon. Actually, I think I will check to see if there's any update, because it is after 5 now, so any negotiations today would probably have ended by the day. The WGA has poured cold water on that, with some leaders suggesting on Twitter that the rumors are only meant to raise hopes and make the WGA look unreasonable if it rejects the latest offer. So let's actually go ahead and do that. Let's go to the Variety front page, Strike Central. Yep, no further update. So that's something that I've noticed people talking about, is that the AMPTP will lay out these little breadcrumbs saying, oh, it looks like we're close to a deal, and then it doesn't happen, and they make it look like the WGA is being unreasonable in their demands, and people are like, oh, I was so hopeful that we were close to a resolution, but the WGA won't do it, so I guess we'll get frustrated with the WGA. Don't believe any of that. Don't listen to the AMPTP saying they're close to a deal, because that's just a negotiating tactic to get public pressure on the WGA to accept whatever pittance they're offered. And I have seen people talking about how SAG-AFTRA and the WGA are actually trying to push the breakup of the AMPTP, because being able to negotiate with individual studios would put the unions in a better spot. And actually, as we'll see here, the Iron Claw has secured a SAG-AFTRA interim agreement that allows the stars to promote the movie, since it is being released by A24, who has agreed to SAG's proposal. We've seen a lot of independent productions, or productions that are operated outside of the AMPTP, that they are allowed to continue production because they have accepted all of SAG-AFTRA's demands that they are asking of the AMPTP. And we're seeing talks of people trying to pressure some of the studios to leave the AMPTP just to negotiate with unions on their own, because it seems like a lot of the big players are the ones calling the shots when a lot of smaller studios would be like, look, we'd be happy to meet you guys where you're at on these talking points, but you know, we're all aligned with Ted Sarandos and David Zaslav and Bob Iger, so we don't get to have that. But seeing things like A24, which is an independent studio which releases quite a bit of movies these days, I don't know, it's hopeful. I would love to break up the growing, not quite monopoly, but I mean, it is kind of a growing monopoly. Companies keep buying each other out, and Disney keeps trying to swallow the rest of Hollywood all under its banner, and same with Warner Brothers Discovery and, you know, Viacom and all of them. You know, antitrust used to be taken seriously in this country, and it would be great to see some political will on that front. I remember just 20 years ago, Microsoft was being threatened to be broken up because they packaged Internet Explorer with Windows. And the idea that that kind of a lawsuit could happen today is unthinkable. It would be nice.
Hey, thanks for watching. I'm trying to get my channel monetized, so your view means a lot. Don't forget to toss me a like and subscribe and ring the bell. I stream every Monday and Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific, so catch me live and join in on the convo. You can find all my socials in the description below, and thank you to all my patrons with a special shout out to Piftle Cakes and Ryan D. Your support means the world. Catch you next time.